I think the advent of color in the middle 60s was the big change because only two companies made color TV sets up until the middle 60s.
Was that RCA?
And I think Zenith did, then finally it opened up. And then the only network that had color programming on a regular basis was NBC till about 1965.
Is that right?
CBS only carried specials in color and the Red Skelton Show. That was the only, that was their whole color schedule.
Yeah.
ABC never carried any color, and then in 1965 they made the change. They made that all the networks are going to be broadcasting their primetime schedule in color.
Right.
And that was what really spurred color. Everybody went out and bought, and then at the same time there were more sets making color sets.
Sure.
The price of color in the 50s, a color TV set in the 1950s was $1,000 in their dollars at that time.
No, wow. I wonder what that. Yeah, how what that translates into now?
Probably $3,000 or $4,000.
$3,000 or $4,000. Yeah.
Right. And you're seeing the same thing being played out today with digital television sets.
Right.
4 years ago, what was the price of a digital set?
Oh yeah.
Over $1,000, $1,500,
yeah.
$2,000. What are they now? $700. Walmart has got some down to $500. So it's the supply and demand.
Right.
And this is the big change for us now. There's also going to be a change in radio in the future.
Really? How's that?
Digital radio.
Digital radio, yes.
Right. That's going to come. That's going to be a big thing for the future. What's going to happen with these radio stations? How many are going to go switch to digital radio? Digital radio on AM side will be just unbelievable.
That's very interesting. It'll help equalize AM and FM.
Right. So it's on-air encompasses everything, takes everything into account, and it's going to be a big change for everybody.
That's incredible, Pete. You know, there's so many changes. And, of course, obviously working for Fox now, you've been associated with the Fox affiliate network family since, I believe, 1994.
That's right.
Favorite shows are probably on Fox right now. But let's say for your favorite shows off of Fox, what kind of TV do you like to watch, Pete?
I like shows on all the networks. Fox, because I work in it, I do like 24. That is my
24?
favorite.
Is that 24. Your favorite show across the board? Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's my favorite show.
Wow.
I watch that. I like the CSI on CBS. Grey's Anatomy on ABC, which is a top-rated show. I like that. Then I like, I switch and I watch the cable channel shows, Nip and Tuck.
Nip and Tuck. What's that about?
A show on FX channel.
On FX,
right.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit, let's say a little bit far out. The other show that I thought was one of the best shows on television was 6 Feet Under on HBO.
I don't know about that.
That was on for about 5 years.
I think Donald likes that show, yeah.
That
the
was
thing
cool.
about the morgue and all.
The morgue. That was different. How could you make a show that was interesting about a family that owns a funeral home?
Yeah.
Each week you sat there and it was revolved.
Did you watch The Sopranos much, Pete?
Yes, I watched it. It was good, but I'm not I'm not that big on the mafia type thing.
Right.
So
not too many mafia in Montana?
They did have a mafia in Montana.
Are you sure? They might have, yeah. They were cowboys, yeah.
Cowboys, but not the mafia.
Of course, you have been, share with viewers what that was like, the advent, having worked with the big three networks for 35 years, and then here comes Fox. What was that like for you, Pete?
If you go back to when Fox even started, it was started back, I think it was 84, 85. And when that was a big change because that was the fourth network. There was no idea for close to 40, 50 years when broadcast there was a fourth network.
Right.
Fox went on the air the first year it was on the air, it only had programming on 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday night.
Right.
So a lot of independents went to it, and everybody wondered how would Fox do.
Right.
And Fox, I would have to say, in the beginning had some tough years. They had Married with Children. They had 21 Jump Street.
Right.
And they had
one of the shows Johnny Depp got his start.
That was
right?
21 Jump Street.
Is that right? Yeah.
And so it was starting. Then next year they added a night, and finally by the big event for Fox and. As you well know, your dad took the advantage of that was in '94 when Fox took NFL away from CBS.
That's right.
That's when the game really
big
changed.
Bucks.
That was
exactly
the big
right.
bucks. Fox then had the credibility of being a full-fledged network. Just by that one purchase of tying up NFL football, that made them the network.
And they paid about $400 million a year for a 4-year period originally.
Right, yeah,
it was like $1.6 billion.
Yeah, it was
really changed the landscape.
It changed that landscape.
Difficult for CBS to keep it.
Right, and it was such interesting because your dad and I went to the CBS affiliates meeting after they had announced that they were completely caught off guard when Fox took that NFL. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
They, Mr. Stringer was in charge of the network. They thought if they had it in the bag, they were all there, and whammo, bingo. And then, not within a month and a half, 12 affiliates that were CBS affiliates abandoned the network.
Major markets, Dallas and other big markets, Phoenix, Atlanta, Phoenix, where they Cleveland, where
the
they
New
really
World stations.
Sure.
And the judge was in. It was his 3 CBS affiliates. It switched to Fox, and that was the biggest story. Fox was now a major player.
And 2 of those were CBS affiliates that you were running. When you say the judge, my father and his mother's estate, or my father and grandmother had owned those stations in Southern California, which you were the vice president and general manager of.
Right, and we made that change. And it was a phenomenal change for us. It changed our picture. We had some concerns being a CBS affiliate there for all those years. How would the public take the change?
Right.
There was, in fact, when we made the change, we had much better numbers. It just jumped up.
El Centro and Yuma and Palm Springs,
Fox had the #1 club. We became the member of the Fox #1 club that first year.
Out of the gate.
Right out of the gate.
Wow.
In that 18-49. So that was a great move. So that, Fox is a real strong network. It's willing to take chances. It's edgy. And I would say all the 3 networks have something. They've all get a niche. And,
they've all morphed into being much more edgy
and much more
demographics.
They all reach a niche what they want to get.
You mentioned 18 to 49. That's something hopefully you'll get into in your on-air column, talking about demographics and the importance of that for TV and even radio stations.
That demos is what all the advertisers buy off of. What a demo is important to theirs, getting customers in. If if you're having a toy store or a youth store, you want to reach the 12 to 34. Your soft drink companies go to the 12 to 34.
East of Chicago pizza, sure.
And your main stores like your Sears or even some of them tend to skew 25, 54. That's a different age group all the way. So people have become target marketing now, not only in newspapers, radio, television. That's why you got these different formats in radio stations.
That's a very good point. A lot of folks don't want to listen to country,
but
surely other folks don't want to listen to classic rock.
They've all reached the point that's you go back to the 30s and 40s in radio. 30s and 40s in radio, they did not have per se different formats.
Really?
They were NBC, ABC, and mutual broadcasting networks. They broadcast from radio soap operas, like television is. Yes, they had soap operas. They had the Red Skelton Show. But they were an all-rock station? No. That came about during the 50s when television was taking the audience away from radio. They just developed a niche that they went into formats.
Was there a show that first year in 1956 when you were a teenager, Pete, that drew you to that local access station, that drew you to that TV station to say, I've got to be there, I want to be a star? Was there some show that you were watching, even delayed, that really got you excited and made you think, I want to be a part of that?
1957, Steve Allen Show. I saw Elvis on TV for the first time.
Oh, yeah. You saw Elvis on the Steve Allen Show?
Yes, Elvis was on the Steve Allen Show. I thought that, I was a young teenager at that time. We, went to the movies to see Love Me Tender with Elvis. The line would stretch around the block, but he wasn't on television. The big markets got him. But when he came on, I watched it. I couldn't believe it. I thought, boy, that's unbelievable. Elvis on television. Something.
Do you have any memories of things that really stand out over the course of 50 years, days that you'll never forget, much like people now think of 9/11 and watching the scenes of the aftermath?
The Kennedy assassination would be mine. That is where we saw television news, per se, really come to the forefront. The coverage was unbelievable, spectacular, like door to door. That's when television news came into being. If you saw television news in the 50s or 60s, it was very, very plain. It was just a desk, a map usually of the United States behind you, two flags, and the guy just read the news, cut it off AP and read. Maybe they'd slip a slide in. Some bigger stations had 16 millimeter where they had their own developing. But when cameras came in with, you saw the Jack Ruby, the shooting of Lee Harvey Oswald, that was on television.
Right.
That was the first time that news really came in it. The coverage of the president's funeral was like from the minute it started to the end. In fact, that was the first time that the networks pooled their coverage together. It was such a big project.
Wow.
And, that's where you saw TV news take it to the high level. And after that, it continued to grow much better.
I hate to say it, speaking of growing much better and the excitement for folks as you kicked off your first column, folks are going to have to either pick up a copy or go online to myrtlebeachherald.com to see On Air with Pete Sieler. It's very exciting to see a 50-year full circle. We're thrilled to have you on the Herald staff. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Pete, and thanks for everything you've done. Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with columnist Pete Sieler coming up next. Think about that excitement for a teenager there in Miles City, Montana, 50-plus years ago. His first job at the station, cleaning that 16-millimeter film, threading the film, and the excitement of being a cameraman there for sporting events and local parades and happenings there in that town of 10,000. Fast forward 50 years, and now he's out helping small and medium and large businesses grow their business. He's still in it, hands-on, getting his hands dirty, willing to do anything to help those businesses grow. And at the same time, now he's sharing that 50 years of amazing knowledge with readers of the Myrtle Beach Herald. Catch him, pick up a copy of the paper. The inaugural issue kicked off last Thursday. It's going to be around from here going forward, or you can go online at myrtlebeachherald.com or send him an email if you got an idea of something that needs to be covered at pete@readtheherald.com.